Welcome to your Houston Rewind for November 6th through November 10th. I'm KHOU 11 digital anchor Brandy Smith. We know catching up on the news can be a little overwhelming in a city like Houston where it never seems to stop. So every weekend, we take this opportunity to fill you in on some of the stories you may have missed. Let's rewind. Monday, a judge set bond for the big rig driver behind the wheel during this 2-hour chase through the Houston area. Michelle Choi was in court for the hearing.
Yeah, right now, Christopher Lebowski, who is from Florida, is being held at the Montgomery County Jail. His total bond set at $150,000. Just a day after leading authorities on what police called an extremely dangerous high-speed chase.
Just be advised, ATV trying to get spikes on northbound loop, spikes northbound loop.
51-year-old Lebowski faced a judge in probable cause court Sunday.
Chris, you got 2 charges: evading a motor vehicle and possession of a controlled substance.
Investigators say on Saturday, Lebowski refused to pull over after they got a call about him driving erratically on the highway. They say he sped through 4 different counties and led officers through several interstates, busy surface streets, including the Texas Medical Center, running red lights and crashing into vehicles in the process. Police dashcam video capturing the moment the big rig makes a U-turn in the middle of 59, then driving the wrong way. The 2-hour-long chase finally ended in Fulshire after DPS troopers shot out several tires to stop it. In court, prosecutors revealed drugs were found in the cab of the truck.
Tested positive for methamphetamine, weighing at 13 grams.
Lebowski at one point interrupting the bond hearing to talk to the judge, who responded he needed to stay quiet.
More so than anybody in this room, Chris, you want to keep your mouth completely shut right now. I know you can't wait to get it out. Give it a week and you'll get to say it all.
Fortunately, no one was hurt during this chase. Lebowski is expected to make his first official court appearance in the coming days. We'll keep you posted.
Is it possible to steal someone's home? It is if you forge the right paperwork, and that's what a man's accused of doing to several people, including his own father. Sherman Chow broke down the case and offered tips about how you can protect your most valuable investment.
The biggest concern now is that there may be other victims in this case in other jurisdictions. If that could be you, please contact the Harris County Constable Precinct 1's office. Here is the suspect, 32-year-old Timothy Willard, now charged with felony theft for allegedly stealing the title to 3 Houston properties over the course of 2 years.
Everything he made was just bogus. You know, from the notary public to the warranty deed itself. All of that is bogus. So
elaborate forged documents fooled a title company and realtor into believing Willard owned these properties from Southwest Houston to multi-million-dollar lots in River Oaks, and so could sell them. The real owner was planning to build a house on West Lane, and when builders tried to pull permits, they found the suspect's name on the deed instead. That launched the investigation. A second nearby property also falsely had Willard's name on it. Those deals were stopped in time thanks to investigators.
those could have been sold that were stopped to the tune of $15 million. Because you're talking about high-end real estate in the River Oaks area.
But a condo on Bray Acres was sold. The real owner? Willard's father, a retired Houston firefighter who was reluctant at first to press charges.
His father said, I got to stop this. And I'm thankful to his father because I know how difficult that would be to turn in your own son.
A buyer paid $100,000 for that condo and used a title company which ensures who the real owner is, so both parties were defrauded. The real owners must also spend time and money to straighten out the legal mess. Constable Rosen also recommends using a service that monitors your property records and can notify you if there are any changes or liens that are taken out against your property. Sherman Chow, KHOU 11 News.
Willard was supposed to be in court Wednesday, but didn't show up. A judge declared him a no-show and issued a warrant for his arrest. Willard was out on a personal recognizance bond. It is so important you know your rights when it comes to voting. An 18-year-old from Houston learned that the hard way. Anna Yeli Ruiz talked to the teen turned away at the polls.
I need representatives to create legislation so that
Eliodoro Martinez headed to the polls to vote early, excited for the opportunity. But that excitement quickly turned to frustration.
They looked me up in their database and I wasn't showing up. And they said I couldn't vote at this time. So just wait a couple of weeks until your voter card comes in and then you can go and vote.
He walked out of the polling place disappointed.
I felt pretty bummed because I was so excited to vote. And then when they told me I couldn't vote at the time, even though I registered, I felt really sad about it because, again, I couldn't get my voice across.
Fortunately for him, his older sister was also voting that day.
She knows her way around them, so she knows that there is a provisional ballot, which is kind of like a supplementary ballot.
And she knew even if her brother wasn't in the database, he could still cast a provisional ballot and have his eligibility verified later. KHOU 11 political expert Brandon Rottinghouse says it's important you or someone you're voting with knows your rights.
People make mistakes. They're going to be aware of the rules, but sometimes they're going to enforce them a little bit unevenly. So it's better if people go in knowing their rights as a voter. And if they really do have a problem, they should ask somebody there and then they can clarify with the election judges.
And that's what Eliodoro and his sister did. They went back inside the polling location and a precinct worker quickly determined they made a mistake. He was in the system.
People who don't know that there's a provisional ballot, they would have just walked away and not voted at all and not given their message across. So I felt really happy that I could vote.
Although his first time voting experience didn't go as smooth as he had hoped, he said it was all worth it just to cast his vote.
And of course, Tuesday was Election Day in Texas. Just a year before, election mishaps sparked lawsuits, changed laws, and shook up how elections are run here. Investigative reporter Jeremy Rogalski tracked conditions for voters this go-round.
Harris County's new elections chief described Election Day as, quote, fairly smooth. County Clerk Tanisha Hudspeth says 93% of voting centers opened on time. There were some problems, she says, with scanners and other voting equipment, but those generally were resolved in a short time because this time around, technicians were deployed to every single polling location. And unlike the major problem of paper ballot shortages last November,
I am happy to say no locations ran out of ballot paper today.
For context, this was a much lower turnout election than last November, with less than half of total votes compared to the midterm last year.
Houstonians will head to the polls again on Saturday, December 9th for the runoff election. The big one here, Sheila Jackson Lee and John Whitmire facing off for the spot in the mayor's office. City council seats and the city comptroller positions are also in runoffs. You can check out all the results of the November 7th election in Harris County and neighboring counties at khou.com/elections. Residents of Spring Valley want Houston Public Works to pump the brakes on a major road project. It's called the Bingle Road Diet, and it would reduce a large section of Bingle from a 4-lane road to just 2 lanes with a center turn lane. Matt Doherty found out why the city thinks the project is the right move.
Paul Nimmons has owned property in the Spring Valley area since the 70s.
Longer than a lot of people have been alive.
And in that time, he's watched neighborhoods grow and traffic get much worse.
What is the traffic like out there right now? Constant.
Which is why he and other neighbors were shocked to learn that a stretch of Bingle Road wasn't going to be expanded, but instead reduced from 4 lanes of traffic, 2 each way, to just 2 running in opposite directions, separated by a turn lane. From close to I-10 stretching all the way to Long Point, Nimmons is not the only one who thinks this project needs a closer look.
The thought behind the road diet is that it actually helps with traffic, but people need that information, and I haven't seen that information either.
Houston City Council member Amy Peck asked Houston Public Works to put a pause on the project for now.
I don't like the idea of implementing a giant project like this with virtually no public notice and no information given to the public beforehand. It turned into this giant project between the city of Houston and Spring Valley.
And although Peck says the city of Houston has agreed to put its portion of the project on hold, we were not able to get through to the city of Spring Valley before it closed its offices today to get an answer about its stretch of road.
It'll be a mile worth of cards if they're 1 wide.
Most people Matt spoke to were against the project, but it does have support from others online. We don't have a firm answer about whether it will ultimately move forward. if you are in the market for a car, especially a used one, listen up. Criminals are renting cars online, then selling them to people who have no idea the car was stolen. The scam cost a local woman thousands of dollars, and she reached out to Grace White for help.
The woman who called us for help is out $11,000, and she's scared, which is why she asked us to share her story but not show her face.
And when you were test driving it, where was he?
Right there.
In the front seat. It never gave you any reason to wonder about anything.
Nothing made me suspicious.
This woman thought she did everything right. She bought this 2019 Toyota Camry she saw on Craigslist.
It looked like a pretty good car. Didn't have a lot of miles on it.
She even checked it out.
And you checked the VIN number?
I did.
She even pulled up this Carfax report and didn't see any red flags. So she arranged to meet the seller in a public place and paid $11,000 in cash. But when she got home, she noticed something.
Up in there, right here.
An Apple AirTag in the trunk, and then a real shock.
There's banging on the door. They're demanding keys, like, where are the keys, where are the keys?
She says the men told her the Camry was theirs, and they had rented it out online. But she was confused because she had the title.
Yeah, it's really slight. It's hard to see.
Turns out, it's fake.
When they steal the car,
Sergeant Tracy Hicks with Houston Police's Auto Theft Task Force is working the case.
This was the title, and that's the VIN number. And again, she ran that VIN number and said it didn't come back stolen.
right, it wouldn't have because it wasn't stolen.
So how can you check out a title?
Going up to the light and you see there's two big giant state of Texas.
So 1 and 2.
Yeah, that's just, and a color copier is not going to be able to have that.
Police also say check the front, the feel, and the colors. They should be consistent. And if you're still not sure,
You can always go into a local police station, a constable station, and ask the desk officer, could you look at this? Could you tell me? That officer can actually run the numbers and make sure that that is a valid title.
We've been watching this case for weeks, and investigators told me yesterday a man has been charged with stealing this car and tampering with government records, which was the car's title. Houston police also tell me they have now returned the car to its original owner.
Do you have a consumer problem you need help with? Grace can help. Email gracecanhelp@khou.com or call Grace at 713-521-HELP. Autumn is all about falling leaves, and around here, falling squirrels. The Houston SPCA's Wildlife Center of Texas is caring for a record number of baby squirrels. Stephanie Simmons visited the center to find out how you can help.
Whiskey and frisky. Squirrels belong in trees, but sometimes life takes a turn.
This is the big fall boom of baby squirrels, and when they get orphaned, people bring them into us, we raise them up, and then we release them.
The Houston SPCA's Wildlife Center of Texas is currently caring for a record number of baby squirrels, with more than 200.
An average length of stay is 6 to 8 weeks.
Wildlife Manager Brooke Yaney says if you see one who may need help, handle the cuddly creature with care.
The first thing we recommend is to check and see if the baby looks like he's injured. If there's any open wounds or if there's flies swarming around, something like that, that baby needs to be brought in immediately. If there doesn't look like there's anything wrong, you can actually try to reunite the squirrel with its mom. Squirrel moms are usually pretty good about taking care of their babies. So what we would recommend in that case is to put like a box with some rags or something in it and leave it out for a couple of hours near where you found the squirrel to see if the mom comes back and claims that baby.
If mom doesn't come back, take the squirrel to the Houston SPCA. Without a permit, it's illegal to rehab a wild animal at home, but you can still be a part of their recovery process.
We can do this for 6-7 hours a day sometimes, so we definitely need people to come in and help.
The Wildlife Center is in desperate need of volunteers to help feed the overflow of baby squirrels.
I picked him out because he's so cute.
Most of the tiny babies need to be fed 3 times a day.
He's got a little milk mustache.
Carefully, with a special formula through a syringe.
It'll be easier if you hold his head.
I even gave it a try. They are squirmy, but once you get the hang of it, it's truly a relaxing and a rewarding way to volunteer.
A little practice makes perfect, right?
After all, they're just a bunch of baby squirrels trading nuts for some warm, soothing milk.
and we're going to sleep.
18 fire crews from 4 counties spent hours Wednesday fighting a fire at Sound Resource Solutions, a chemical plant in Shepherd, Texas. By early evening, the fire was out, Highway 59 was reopened, and the shelter-in-place order was lifted. But as Devon Roming learned, neighbors still have plenty of questions about air quality.
Scary moments today as smoke and flame billowed into the sky after the massive explosion at Sound Resource Solutions near Shepherd sent workers running for cover and forced people to shelter in place for hours.
We need people en route. Also, Lord, you can see it from Goodrich here. It's a big deal.
The cause of the fire still under investigation, tied to a reported forklift incident. The Texas Commission on Environmental Quality deploying mobile air monitoring units tonight, a move Marcelo D'Amico, president of Orcas Fire and Risk, says is standard as the investigation into the explosion plays out.
Part of the government's job locally is to really determine what is the overall impact outside of just generally cleaning up the post-fire incident. If there was a liquid spill, where did it go? Did it get into water?
Experts telling us that while there are no concerning levels of chemicals or particulate matter in the air at the moment, that doesn't mean impacts won't be felt later on.
The smoke went up in the air very high, but eventually that plume is going to fall down somewhere. So if you were outside and you were inhaling those products of combustion, most likely it's not going to make you feel that great.
A frightening sight serving as a reminder to those who may find themselves in harm's way.
People should be cognizant of what they live next to. Like, hey, what happens if there is a spill? What happens if there is a fire? Am I in danger? What kind of toxic chemicals?
All of the 19 employees who were working at the plant at the time of the explosion, they were all accounted for. One did suffer minor burns. KHOU 11 will stay on top of the investigation into the fire, along with the recovery of the worker who was burned. So be sure to check for updates on KHOU.com and our KHOU 11 news app. A fake priest is going parish to parish, stealing from churches. That's according to the Archdiocese of Galveston, Houston. It put all Catholic churches on alert for the imposter. Annie Yelly Ruiz talked to churchgoers at one of the sites hit.
People coming to get closer to God, concerned tonight that a man authorities are calling a fake priest infiltrated this church.
I don't have words for that. Trying to impersonate someone.
Parishioners tell us they were recently alerted to the crime, which happened on October 27th.
It's sad. You would wish that that didn't happen.
Today we learn new details about what happened from Houston police. They say the man seen in these surveillance images claimed to be Father Martin, a visiting priest from Chicago. He said he left his keys in the priest's residence and bluffed his way past a church staffer. Once inside, police say he stole cash from the rooms of the rectory. In all, they say he was on the church grounds for 30 minutes before leaving a vehicle he left parked nearby. This week, the Archdiocese of Galveston, Houston shared this memo with its members, a security alert concerned this imposter priest could try to hit other churches. They say he's on the radar of Dallas police and has warrants out of California and Pennsylvania. Tonight, those here at St. Thomas More are on the lookout and praying for the man accused of victimizing this church.
People don't always make the best choices, and certainly hope that they could turn around choices they're making.
If you've seen the man calling himself Father Martin, call HPD. Wednesday, students at Texas Southern University got quite a treat when Houston native and rapper Megan Thee Stallion made a surprise visit to campus. Ugochi Aloka was part of the only TV news crew there as Megan, a TSU alum, announced she was there to hand out scholarships.
Every time someone buys merchandise from this flaming hot university vendor or shops online, that money goes towards a scholarship fund that helps graduating seniors like the ones that attend here at TSU. Today, some of those students got to meet the face behind it all. This celebrity alum always shows up for TSU.
Her mother would be extremely proud of what she did for the university.
TSU student Isaac Palacio is talking about her. Houston multi-Grammy award-winning rapper Megan Thee Stallion. Megan, who graduated from TSU in 2021, teamed up with Frito-Lay as brand ambassador for their flaming hot university. The goal? To do what no one else could do for her in college.
I wanted to take like a burden off other students who probably felt like, dang, how am I gonna get through school? So I wanted to give the graduating seniors a little coin.
That coin is $175,000 to be split 20 ways. The recipients knew about the scholarship money, but not the special guest.
We didn't know Megan Thee Stallion was going to come. It was very exciting. It was such oh my God moment.
Kiana Stubbs is one of the 20 picked, and just like Megan did, she's paying for school solo.
I do have loans, and it's just me, I don't have my parents or anything.
So this money could have come at a better time.
Graduating seniors don't get a lot of support because they are graduating, so this just really made it seem like somebody actually see us.
Keep going, don't let nobody tell you what you can't do because you definitely can do it.
Megan, are you excited to be here today?
I am, I'm so happy. Everybody's making me feel so loved.
As for what Megan is going to do while she's visiting her hometown,
Every time I come back to Houston, I'm like, yes, finally, real food.
Palacio, who's one of the scholarship recipients, has this sweet offer for Megan.
I'm trying to take her out to eat because she said she was hungry.
A bold ask for this TSU superstar alum striving to make a difference in her city. Ugochi Iloka, KHOU 11 News.
After the Uvalde school shooting, Texas lawmakers passed a new law requiring school districts to have an armed security officer on every school campus. But a KHOU 11 investigation found only a few districts in the Houston area do. Investigative reporter Cheryl Mercedes took a closer look.
On this day at Elsick High School, Alief ISD K-9 Tony is on duty, while 3 other officers keep their eyes peeled for unwanted visitors.
They gotta go through the other side.
Alief ISD Police Chief Dan Turner supervises their rounds.
This routine that they keep every day is extremely important.
A new Texas law requires an armed security officer at every school. Alief ISD employs 49 officers for its 48 campuses, but it still doesn't meet the mandate because it assigns 3 officers to each high school.
For people who look at the numbers and say, well, hey, why don't you just take 2 officers from each of those high schools, move them around to the elementary school so that they have an officer there as well during regular school hours. What would you say to that?
I would say to allow me, as the chief of police and the superintendent, as the leader of our district, to allow us to make those decisions concerning safety. And if an officer needs to be moved, we will do that.
While some school districts don't have the funds, Alief ISD does. Chief Turner says his challenge is finding qualified officers.
The officers aren't there.
KHOU 11 Investigates found 17 of the 20 largest area school districts have filed or plan to file what's known as a good cause exception because they either can't find qualified officers or the money to hire them.
It's a little bit surprising.
Texas Representative Joe Moody helped create the law.
We were very careful in crafting this to make sure that this is honed in on providing safety and security.
Some departments are having issues finding qualified officers and the money. What do you say to them?
My hope is that when we come back, we're now going to have evidence to show them we needed these funds to be able to implement these safety protocols.
Are there any penalties for school districts that don't meet the requirement?
If there's an issue and they can't comply, and now we know because they're asking for exceptions, let's figure out how to meet them where they are and take them where they need to go.
In Alief, Chief Turner says he's got a long way to go.
Are you thinking by the end of this school year you'll have those additional 30 officers in place?
I doubt that very seriously.
By next school year?
I just don't know. The officers aren't there.
To find out if your school district has met the state requirement, head to KHOU.com. We've got an interactive map showing the number of officers and schools in each. You'll also find the responses we got from some of them. 3 of the school districts we looked at have met the mandate. They are Tomball, Galena Park, and New Caney ISDs.
Our KHOU 11 Investigates team is always working on something. You can check out khou.com/investigations to see their most recent reports. Caught on camera, an off-duty deputy working security at a wedding is suspected of stealing money meant for the bride and groom. That deputy is now on leave. Jason Miles sat down with the newlyweds, who say they just want an apology and their money back.
This pleasant venue near Plantersville was dreary and wet today, but set the perfect scene last Saturday for Tony Clark and his new bride, Chelsea.
It went really well, really well. You're still smiling. Yeah, it was a great celebration.
Clark shared several photos from the wedding that went off without a hitch until cash-filled cards from several family members disappeared from a congratulations box.
They just kind of asked, hey, what did you think about our card? And we were like, what?
They later reviewed this surveillance video from when the wedding guests and couple were outside taking pictures.
He's opening the card box.
The couple says it appears to show an off-duty Grimes County Sheriff's deputy working security, allegedly taking the cards. He's even wearing a uniform. We blurred his face since he's not charged with anything at this time.
Oh my gosh. Look at that. And then he just goes into the bathroom.
My first reaction was just shock.
Clark says he was initially angered, then disappointed by the suspected theft at the hands of someone hired to keep things from happening.
Apologize, give the money back. Honestly, that would go a long way.
Clark contacted us at KHOU and the Grimes County Sheriff's Office, which is investigating the incident along with outside agencies. They've placed the deputy on administrative leave related to the incident that only slightly blemished a joyous occasion.
But as far as the magic for the event, it's still there. We had an amazing wedding.
Grimes County Sheriff Donald Soule told Jason he is disappointed if what the video appears to show is true. We've chosen not to identify the deputy at this time because no criminal charges have been filed yet. 18-wheelers may have to find a different way through Houston if the city council has its way. It's looking at a plan to limit where big rigs can go, and it may affect traffic in your neighborhood. Adam Bennett looked into how this fits within the city's larger goal of eliminating traffic deaths and serious injuries by 2030.
On this quiet street in Northeast Houston's Settegast neighborhood,
today my birthday.
Brandon Carter is spending his first day of his 40th year with loved ones.
I mean, look, you see it right now.
And the occasional unwelcome guest.
Up and down, up and down, up and down. You got cement trucks, you got the dump trucks, the big rigs.
This is the neighborhood where City Council could launch the citywide truck route plan. It would limit trucks with more than 3 axles or weighing more than 26,000 pounds from passing through smaller city streets, forcing them to stay on more main roads. There are exceptions for deliveries and other business reasons. Larger school buses would be exempted.
Use the freeway.
Earlier today at City Hall, the project's planning manager told council members the exact streets are still undetermined. Their biggest question, how this would be enforced.
A police officer could stop them, ask them to provide proof of route showing that destination is on that street.
Back in Settegast,
I'm just here, man. I'm just trying to live my life.
Brandon Carter hopes it brings a little more peace to the place he calls home.
City council members could greenlight this citywide program later this month. If approved, they would test the plan first in Settegast in the spring before expanding citywide during summer. Right now on KHOU.com, we have the city's map of accident hotspots, so you can check to see if your neighborhood could be next on the list. Cities like New York and Chicago get a lot of attention for their architecture, but Houston's skyline is dotted with the work of famed architects too. 5-year-old Zuzu was part of the group of 20 or so strangers of all ages and interests that met up on a sunny Saturday to do some sightseeing in our own city. Zuzu's already a pro. Maybe. Since mom Jennifer helps coordinate all the tours offered by Architecture Center Houston, or ARCH.
We do them every Saturday from October through May, so we wait till it cools off a bit.
My name's Dick Schmidt. I'm one of the docents. Aminata will be the other.
Starting at the Cullen Sculpture Garden, they led us through the Houston Museum District.
Let's move up and look at the Glassell School.
We started with one tour, and we saw what other cities like Chicago and New York City were doing as a way to promote architecture within their city. And so we wanted to create something similar. You know, Houston has a lot of great architecture.
Pretty ingenious.
The first tour happened in 2011. Now Arch offers 11 different tours. 9 you take on foot, 2 you travel by bike.
We have some of the best architects in Houston, not only ones that were born and raised here, but ones that are attracted internationally as well.
Like right now, we're standing in front of a Mies van der Rohe building, the Museum of Fine Arts Houston, and he's, one of the first architects I learned about in architecture school.
He designed the modern additions to the nearly 100-year-old Museum of Fine Arts Houston.
This is the new building.
A major focal point of this tour.
It's a nice blend of architecture and also history. So if you're more of a history buff, you can learn a lot about the city too.
Like where to find the original front of MFAH and why the lawn in front of it.
It was a very funny lot.
The tour's 3-mile loop wound past the Mecum Fountain and what was the Warwick Hotel.
Now Hotel Zaza.
Beyond the Houston Museum of Natural Science, into Herman Park, and up the hill created by the dirt under Fannin Street.
This amphitheater is designed out of Corten steel.
To Miller Outdoor Theater.
So we're going to head over to the new Centennial Garden, which was built to celebrate 100 years.
On trails of dirt and pavement, through crosswalks and over tree roots, the exploration continued. Instead of rushing to see everything inside these museums, churches, and more, these Houstonians, old and new, got an opportunity to learn about the buildings themselves.
We'll tell you things about your city that you never knew.
Which even Zuzu mostly agrees is worth a few hours on a Saturday morning.
It's a great way to get you to know your city.
Goodbye. Now that cooler weather is here, there are so many outdoor hidden gems to check out. We put together an interactive map for you to explore. You can find it at khou.com/hidden gems. Texas Rangers are investigating new tampering claims within Judge Lina Hidalgo's office at the request of the Harris County District Attorney's Office. Newly unsealed search warrants show investigators are looking into whether evidence was deleted during the initial investigation. Jeremy Rogalski shared what else we learned in those documents.
When grand jury subpoenas were served more than 2 years ago, Judge Hidalgo's office did not turn everything over, these newly unsealed search warrants allege. Instead, numerous documents and communications had been concealed and made unavailable, not by mistake, but purposefully concealed. The new search warrants center around Judge Hidalgo's former key staff members who were already charged in connection with steering an $11 million COVID vaccine outreach contract to a one-person firm. The firm's owner, Felicity Pereira, provided grand jury investigators with text messages that were not provided by the judge's office or staff. And search warrants revealed other records that also weren't handed over, like WhatsApp messages that had been deleted after the initiation of the grand jury's investigation. Also missing, key Google Doc draft documents that were edited by Lina Hidalgo and not provided by her office. Investigators determined that in those Google Docs, Judge Hidalgo specifically named Felicity 3 times about the scope of the project weeks before the bidding was ever made public.
November is National Adoption Month, and Friday, more than a dozen children officially joined their forever homes. Michelle Choi took us inside the celebration.
Yeah, it was a morning of celebrations here at the Harris County Juvenile Justice Center. The adoptions took place simultaneously in 2 courtrooms. In total, 19 children ranging in age from 1 to 17 years old joined their forever families today.
Maverick, say cheese.
At just 2 years old, Maverick is making his on-cam debut.
Yeah, camera. Hold your sign.
As the newest member of the Kitchen family, his adoption finalized this morning.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Mom Andrea says Maverick came into their lives more than a year ago when the family chose to foster him at 8 months old.
We've got to love him for 559 days, and now we get to keep him forever.
His brother was also adopted and played a big part in the family growing from 3 to 4.
Our oldest son wanted a brother, and so that's the reason why we opened our home back up. He definitely is the missing puzzle to our family.
Down the hallway, the Villalovas completed their puzzle, adopting their 17-month-old son, Zion.
He was perfect fit for us, and we needed him just as much as he needed us.
Family after family, the joyous proceedings were met with tears and laughter. Lots of laughter for new mom Shantia.
it just doesn't feel real. Like every little thing, I'm like, oh, I'm getting my daughter a cake. Oh, it's my daughter's birthday. Like just saying my daughter is just, it's something like I'm so happy and grateful for.
She adopted 2-year-old Kyla this morning, all while Dad, who is stationed overseas in the Army, joined via Zoom. The families shared this message for those considering adoption and feeling like it's not happening soon enough.
Just pray and believe it, and it will happen.
Don't give up hope.
But it is definitely worth it because you are giving a child the love that they need and that they deserve.
Michelle Choi, KHOU 11 News.
If your child's ever had to have surgery, you know how scary it can be for them and for you. Well, a Houston-based surgeon is going above and beyond to give kids a better experience. Stephanie Whitfield highlighted how this doctor's turning his patients into superheroes.
Dr. Matthew Greaves is a plastic surgeon who operates on children's skulls. But what he's doing here is not part of the job description.
Whatever we think we can mold or shape or create the three-dimensional structures we want, we're giving it a shot.
These head wraps help with swelling after surgery. It's a scary time for children and their parents, but it helps to wake up as their favorite Marvel character.
And they can distract the kids and the parents a little bit from the fact that you're in a hospital, from the fact that you had this really big surgery, by kind of just making it more fun and lighthearted and kind of getting them over the hump to recovery.
Dr. Greaves says his whole surgical team is into it now. Spider-Man has been a popular choice for patients. They've also turned children into bunnies. Ali Patel opted to be a chicken for Halloween since she already got to be a minion at the hospital. It made the first few days after surgery a little easier.
And it's a lot of work for just a short window of time, but I think it's a big difference for those couple days that they have it.
The hard work shows. Stephanie Whitfield, KHOU 11 News.
Hope that helped you catch up on this past week and you're ready for the next one. Remember, you can tune into KHOU 11 on air, online via KHOU.com and YouTube, as well as by using our free KHOU 11 Plus app on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. Have a great week.